Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared with my lovely wife, Kara.
Hello.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I do have my microphone sitting here, so you might hear it rustle every once in a while, like when I hook it up. But we're going to get started here in just a minute. We do obviously have a couple different camera views, and you see that we are in the sharpening booth.
Look at that one. When you look at them, that's their eyes. That's how you look into their eyes.
I can see it. But we are, we'll change angles if we have to make it a little bit better visual for you guys. We do have some stones soaking, as you can see right here. So this is the first one we're going to start with. And we have our little Nagura stone
Are you
soaking.
just jumping right in? You want me to scooch to the other view?
No, we're not jumping right in. I'm going to take a couple sips of coffee, let some people come in here. We're going to soak this stone while we're using this one. That's why this one's not in there. So what's the plan for today? So we have a couple different. Let me hook this up. I don't want my neck rustling around it. So the plan today is we're going to do some whetstone knife sharpening.
You clip it to your earlobe.
And we're going to do it on a chef knife. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about whetstone knife sharpening, aluminum oxide, oil stones, things like that. And you're making them hear all kinds of crazy shit.
Well,
later.
look how good you look.
Baby, come on. You're going to mess their ears up. Look, your hands on the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm just saying, think about their ears.
Sorry.
So, fuck was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So, what we're going to do is we are going to talk about whetstone knife sharpening and also versus diamond sharpening. We're also going to talk about honing on stones like ceramics. Well, not even just ceramics, but like whetstones, Arkansas stones, things like that. Natural stones, aluminum oxide stones, those types. So, like, when you're talking about those types of stones, they kind of all bunch together. So, when you're talking about aluminum oxide, whetstones, oil stones, and natural stones, they're all kind of in the same bundle of the way you use them and things like that. Obviously, a whetstone is going to be used with water, oil stone will be used with oil, but the concept is still the same. So the plan is, and we are going to, if anybody's in here right now watching that is not a member, once we really start, we are going to turn that off. So you have to be a member to watch this. So I'm going to now drop this guy in the bucket of water, let it soak. And then you use this stone right here to clean off the other stones. Now, I recommend if you have Neeves stones, get one of these Nagura stones because these are really good for cleaning your diamonds off. Anytime you're cleaning, and I don't mean diamond plates, I'm talking about resin bonded diamond. When you have resin bonded diamond stones, the diamonds wear down underneath.
I don't like that.
Underneath the surface of.
Q and Keaton says there's a small echo. It's probably because we both have a lapel mic 2 feet from each other.
No, it shouldn't. That shouldn't matter. These are set up to not do that. If there's a bad echo, I'll turn one off.
He said a little echo.
There really shouldn't be because they're supposed to be working together. You can look at the thing and make sure. Just look at it right there. They're both on, right? Talk.
Hello?
No, it's just. Oh no, yeah, both of them are on.
Yeah. Just do your thing.
If you guys start hearing too much of an echo, I'll turn one of these mics off. So let me know. I'll put this one down here. And if you hear too much scratching or anything, just let me know because we're trying to use these lapel mics for this. But next time we might use the other mic. Anyway, so with the Nagura stones, they work really good to clean the surface of whatever stones you want to clean, like, and especially like resin bonded diamond stones, because it doesn't hurt the diamonds. And that's why when you clean one of those stones, you want to make sure. Can you grab me a resin bonded stone from in here? When you clean a resin bonded stone, the diamonds are what you're trying to expose. So the aluminum oxide in this isn't going to hurt the diamonds, but what it'll do is it'll scratch off the resin. So it'll expose the diamonds. These are really good. Now, that doesn't mean you're not still going to have silicon carbide powder and stuff like that to flatten them in the future. But the knife we're sharpening today, Could you please put in the chat this stone to maintain the Veneve? Because I think I screwed them this year. So they should be, if you look inside the Neeves Knives store down in the description, there's all the sharpening supplies. There should be a Nagura stone in there.
Kyle beat you to it.
Thank you, Kyle. Kyle, you're the man. So most of the sharpening supplies we're going to be using today is all in there. So this is very, very dull. It's got a burr going across it. Basically, you can see like it cuts a little bit. As far as like being a chef knife goes, it's crap. These things should just whisper through paper. So we're gonna have to get really wet here, and this is the thing with whetstones and why I don't really recommend them for beginners.
Yeah, Q1 speeds are we don't have more walls than we normally do in the other space, but we do have a big open-ended room here, which can cause sound to sound more airy.
Well, it might be because of this.
It's not a direct like echo.
How's that?
Echo.
How's that? That should be okay.
Well, no, what I was gonna say is that you might not want to yell as loud as you are right now, because one, the mic's right by you, and two, that causes a more intense.
Okay,
sound.
sorry guys. So this is obviously something we're gonna have to listen back to afterwards and see how it turned out. But so the problem,
walk away and listen for a second.
The problem with these water stones, or with any water stones.
Don't get mad at me.
Hey, Mike Gumler, thank you, man. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you. We don't have the bell, but thank you.
11 months.
So
what can I do for a bell?
Nothing. Just don't worry about bells right now.
But wait. I have an idea.
Come on, don't make a big deal out of this.
I have to. It's a special thing. 2 straps.
Okay.
That's the bell.
So with water stones, the problem with them is, and the reason why I don't usually recommend them, especially to beginners, is because they're fucking messy. They are messy. They can be a nightmare to deal with when you're learning how to sharpen, because you're focused on how do I hold my angle? What angle do I use? What steel am I sharpening to? What grit am I going to sharpen to? What's a coarse stone? You're like worried about all these other factors and worrying about how soaked your stone is, how flat it is, because these things wear and you have to reflatten them and just so many things. Your hands get soggy. It becomes a damn mess. Oil stones are a little bit better sometimes. It can be a little bit denser in a lot of cases, especially like Arkansas. Like I have some Arkansas stones I've never even flattened because they're so hard. They last damn near forever. These are king whetstones, which I do recommend. They're Japanese king whetstones. Go ahead.
Chris Jones with 2 bones. Sound is fine here. Cheers, guys.
Why don't you just, instead of clapping, just announce it. Just say, hey.
But I wanna cross-contaminate your compounds.
So, yeah, I know that's what you're doing.
I'll do the sides. No cross-contamination.
So I keep losing my spot.
Oh,
so
sorry. One more. It's these guys doing it. It's not
care.
me.
I don't care. That's why I said just say
Mike,
thank you.
don't do that, Kara. Cross-contamination.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
It's the
Appreciate
wood.
it. Hopefully she'll listen to you. She won't listen to me.
No, I'm not gonna listen to Mike.
Anyways, so with Arkansas stones, they can be quite a bit denser and will last quite a bit longer. So this is the king whetstones. The course is probably like, I don't know, 300 grit, maybe 400. This side's probably 1,000 grit, and then we go up to 3,000 and 6,000, I think. So that does seem like quite a big jump. And these actually do give you somewhat of a mirror polish, which some whetstones don't. Like you'll see a whetstone that's 6,000 grit, but in reality, it's like 2,000 grit. Or, it gives you like a cloudy finish more than a mirror. So it just depends on the stone. But with these stones, our biggest thing is keeping them wet and keeping them. What's up?
Is there a way to turn down your input on that?
No, not unless I go through the app.
Okay, you're cracking red.
I'm cracking red.
Yeah, can I get this really quick? Dennis, member for 11 months. Jared, I cleaned the Sun Cut Serene. Now something rattles. Checked lock pin a couple times, even open it, it rattles. Could it come from the bearings? There was grease in the hole, no oil.
No, it's probably your stop pin rattling back and forth. So check your stop pin, make sure all the hardware's tightened. Your bearings can make noise sometimes, if they have a pocket in there and they have room to rattle around. But in many cases, it's the stop pin that does that. Sorry, guys. I'll try to be
when you're
not
that
so
volume,
loud.
it's fine. Yeah.
I know. So the one beautiful thing about the Whetstones is they're super cheap, super affordable. They actually do work really good when you know what you're doing, and the results are amazing on simple steels. So as long as you're doing simple steels, and I would say simple steels, anything from like 420 up to 154 cm, they work really, really good. They cut fast. Obviously, the thinner the grind, geometry plays a huge part in how long it's going to take you to sharpen your knife. If it's nice and thin, like a chef knife is, it's not going to take you nowhere near as long as, say, something that's, you know, quite a bit thicker behind the edge, like a lot of pocket knives. So right now we do have a burr from heel to tip already, but I want to clean my bevel up just a little bit more than what it is. This is a knife that gets used quite a bit by a lot of people. So it's, you know, it's got a bit of damage to it, not like crazy amounts of damage, but it does get honed and stropped in between sharpenings. So right now I want to just set a whole brand new bevel, give it a fresh restart. That looks really good. All right, so now I'm going to go to the other side, and what I'm going to do is you're going to see me do a reverse pass. The reason why I'm doing a reverse pass, see, look at this, I got to keep on putting water on this thing. The reason why I'm doing a reverse pass is because my burr is on this side right now. So I'm going to start with the tip. I'm going to go just like that, just like a strop, and I'm just basically knocking it over to the other side so that when I start going towards edge leading, my burr doesn't cut into the stone. Now, since it's on this side now, since I flipped it over, I can easily start sharpening without resistance. And it'll help with micro tear out and stuff like that, yes.
When you are done with that, can I see your mic? We're going to just use one. I'm going to put it right here.
I'm talking quieter.
No, it's not you. It's the two. It's like when we try to play online with two mics on a game.
Then did you turn yours off?
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, just turn it off. They can hear you just fine.
Well, that
Trust
way you
me,
don't have to have it. So
they can hear you.
You're going to be way louder. And all that.
I'll just talk quieter. You talk louder. It's fine. They can hear you just fine. I'm telling you.
I was just gonna put it right here.
There. How about that? Good?
Yeah.
All right. Now, like I said, making sure you hold your angle and creating a nice bevel or creating a burr is one thing, right? Like, it's easy to create a burr because burr, you can just lift your angle up really high, swipe it a couple times, you're going to get a burr. So you don't want to base everything off of a burr. That can actually be very ineffective. And the reason why is because just because you have a burr doesn't mean you have a bevel. That's not how that works. So, because you could have a micro bevel that's super tiny that is going to go dull extremely fast, but you have a burr, right? So you want to make sure your scratch pattern is covering your entire bevel from the top of the bevel to the apex or to the burr. So make sure you do enough passes. Even if you might get a burr, check your scratch pattern. What are you doing?
I just feel like it's going to be so loud on the table.
Well, that's where you wanted it. Just leave it. Just leave it alone. You got to leave it somewhere.
Right here.
Shut it down. Don't make this more frustrating than it needs to be. Just set it down. That way it's a consistent thing and it's just not moving around.
I just feel like it's going to be so loud with
it's
the
not. It's not.
vibrations of your sharpening.
So if you're on a fixed angled system, the same thing goes. When you start your angle off, right, you don't want your edge angle to start off at the apex. You don't want your scratches to start off at the apex. You want them to start off at the top of the bevel and work its way down to the apex. So that way you have a bevel, right? Because you're trying to cut in a bevel. not a little micro bevel, you know, like a little tiny, you know, just a burr. You don't want to do that. You want the entire bevel to be the scratch pattern, which on a microscopic level is a saw blade. So remember, that's what you're trying to create. You're trying to create a micro serrated edge, basically. Basically like a micro saw blade. And your bevel is that saw blade. So each scratch pattern that's done by this abrasive that is the stone equals a scratch pattern, which equals a tooth at the apex. And your goal is to have all the teeth running the same direction. So if this was done on a belt, like at a factory edge, the teeth would be straight up and down because that's the direction the belt goes, but it would be consistent, right? Since we're doing it on a stone freehand, all the scratches should be at an angle. Now, if you're using a fixed angled system, you should basically be the same way, because when you're taking your stone and you're going across your edge like this, right? The teeth are running at an angle. Now, if you go up and down like this, you could do it all the way across like that, but you need to make sure it's consistent, where some aren't going this way, some are going this way. You want to make sure all your teeth are going the same direction. That's your goal. We do have a nice big burr. Let's give that thing a little dip. Let's get this other side. So my burr's on this side now, like I said, so I need to knock that burr off. So a little bit more. All right. And we'll go back to town or to work. If you have to, you can work in single areas, but if you work in single areas like I am right now, blend it all in. Make sure it's all blended in. Otherwise, your angle will be changed from heel to tip, and you'll have facets.
Question.
Yeah.
Lauren says, not today's subject, but I'm using Nano Oil 10 from St. Clair, USA. Don't know if it's better to use KPL. Anyone know if there's a really big difference for a non-maniac guy like me?
If you're a non-maniac, then it's fine. You can use nano oil or whatever oil you want, but KPL is always better. I've tried probably a dozen different oils out there, and from my experience, KPL has been the best. Gunny juice is really good too, or Gunny lube. But KPL has been the best as far as knife pivot lube goes.
You know, I never actually posted it live. Do you remember when I attempted to make that video where it was like a song out of like knife sharpening sounds and flicking knives? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I made like that whole beat out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I scrapped it. It was cool. It took a lot of work though. Would you prefer one of these screens to be larger than the other, Jared?
That's up to them, but
do you guys want to zoom in on Jared's actual sharpening screen a little bit, or do you want to
leave it the way it is?
Leave it the way it is so you can... I mean, you'll still see his body. It would just be in the corner.
So, if you
Yeah,
notice...
what about Slick-O-Mall?
Slick-O-Mall is really good too. Yeah, I didn't even consider that. Yeah, Slick-O-Mall is really good. That's like a it's almost like a grease oil combination.
Also, Chris Jones with 2 bones. Thank you again for the 2 bones. I can't clap straps together because everyone's effing yelling at me.
Thank you, Chris Jones.
Used to be a meth head. My teeth run at an angle.
So, if you notice, I have the knife pinched around the blade. So the handle's kind of just floating in my handle or my hand, and I'm kind of just pinching it right here. That way my angle is pretty easy to repeat it, because I'm not holding back here like this, where when I put pressure right here, it can move and stuff. I'm holding it firmly. So my hand and wrist is already a natural position. So when I set it down, it's going to be pretty much the exact same every time when I pop it down on that stone. So figure out a spot and feel it really good and try to remember it the best you can. You might be off by a little bit, but that's why every time you do a new pass, once you say, if I lift it up and now I set it back down, well, I need to do at least 20 swipes then. 20 swipes will ensure that my new edge angle is consistent. And when you get really good, you'll get a good feel of when it's set, when the bevel's set nicely, and you know it feels really good, because there's just like, it's something that takes a long time to feel, but over time you really get the feeling of when your bevel's set, when you've gotten a burr, you know, just everything, because you've done it so many times that there's just little tiny patterns that it takes a long time to understand what those patterns are, but eventually you'll get them. Okay. So with honing on these, we're going to talk about that here in just a second, as soon as we get to this next stone, because anytime you hone on water stones or oil stones or aluminum oxide stones or whatever stones that are not diamond, you want to make sure it's on a very fine grit. So like the harder the better. That's what I like to say. So that's why Arkansas are really good for honing, because they're super hard. So they're almost like glass. Now, with with softer stones, they're a little bit too coarse, so they wind up doing more scratching than just honing, because with honing you're usually trying to realign your edge. You might be trying to add a little bit of micro serrations to your edge, but you're not trying to do a whole new edge bevel, unless if you are. But in that case, then you're just going to start from the coarsest and move your way up, because you're going to do a whole new edge. But as far as honing goes, and basically honing, you can use it in a couple different ways, but the main purpose is just your edge has been worn a little bit, not quite ready to sharpen, but you want to bring your edge back to true, whether it's got maybe a little bit of microchipping, maybe it's off of alignment, maybe you know, maybe you hit a bone or something, or maybe your edge rolled, something like that, where you're realigning your edge, straightening it back up. But adding some micro serrations to the apex is usually a goal still, even if you are just realigning your edge, because there's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of teeth to what you're doing already. And that's why stone or ceramic is better than honing steel, because honing steel can't do that, especially on good quality steels. But yeah, these things are a mess, and that's why I usually just recommend diamond for beginners when you're first starting out. Okay, so we have a good burr. What's up, baby?
Nothing.
Okay, so we're technically ready, but I'm gonna work just for like 30 more seconds on this side. I see a couple facets I want to kind of work out a little bit. And with chef knives, let me be clear, with chef knives, you're gonna have facets. It's not a big deal. With chef knives, you try to get it as consistent as you can, your bevel. But if you have a few facets here and there, don't worry about it. As long as that edge is nice and sharp, you'll be all right. There's a lot of blades you're sharpening, so sometimes it's difficult to be absolutely perfect, you know, without a fixed angled system. But for the most part, you get good at it, and you'll get better and better at making it as consistent as possible. All right, let's grab this other stone. So now I think it's this one feels like the softer one. So I'm guessing this one's 3,000 and the other one's 6,000. Just chopping that burr off really quick. Now this stone is really hard, so this would be a stone that you could hone on, or you could do the 6,000, because they are nice and hard, nice and flat. They're not super aggressive. They're not super coarse. Just make sure there's no like dents and everything in it, because like this one has some dents in it. In fact, let me flatten this one a little bit. So I'm just getting out any scratches that I have in the stone because I can feel a couple. With some stones, you want to get a nice slurry and use the slurry. So you do want to use your stones the way they're supposed to be used. I hate this little rubber thing. Sometimes with that slurry can help you cut your steel even faster and a lot better. So sometimes it depends on the stones, though. Some stones it doesn't matter. It's not going to change a thing because the stone itself does all the cutting. But some of them, you're supposed to slurry up like that and let that slurry be the abrasive that's on the surface right there that you see. See, I got that pinch, the same pinch, and I remember it because I do it the same way every time. Kara, can you read the comments? I can't see them.
I was just giving you the audio.
How it sound? Is it okay?
Wow, you can hear me all the way from over here.
I told you you'd be able to hear you just fine.
That's crazy.
I said that.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear how it sounds. It does sound a little airy, but it's fine.
We'll fix that. Next time I'll use my my shotgun mic or
It's
something.
not that. It's because we're not enclosed in blankets like the other room.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's the reason. For sure. I just wanted to hear it. I'm really sorry that I keep sniffing you guys. I've had a runny nose from my allergies or something. I don't know.
Oh, shit. So with this direction, I obviously can't do the pinch. So unless if I was, you know, ambidextrous, which I'm not. So I have to kind of just lock it in place. And I kind of use this hand to kind of use memory on where exactly how high it is and exactly where my bevel is. Sometimes doing the reverse swipe can help line you up if you kind of know how to naturally ride your bevel. There we go. With oil stones, oil can be, you know, it can stink. It's kind of a mess. However, what you can do with a lot of oil stones, if not most of them, if you've never used oil on them, you can use soapy water. Like my soapy water mix that I make, you can use that on oil stones. But if you've already used oil, you can't, because the oil and water don't mix. So what you have to do is degrease it if you have an oil stone that you've used oil on. And you want to start using soapy water, you just got to boil it and degrease it. Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I'm answering some, but not for you.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that was Kyle answered, so unless I missed something. If I missed something, just tell me, guys.
What was the question?
Well, it's out of context a little bit now because I don't
never
know
mind.
what the subject is he's referring to, but he said like, it was dog. I think he said, would you recommend having those if you got diamonds? I don't know what the those is.
Yes, I would, only if you're good. Like if you know how to sharpen and you're decent at doing it, I would recommend them for chef knives. If you have chef knives and you want to sharpen them often and, you know, keep your chef knives as sharp, but you don't need them. This is the thing with diamonds is always going to be the best because it works for every steel. However, as far as like simple steels go, technically you'll probably get a little bit better edge on this than you will on diamonds with a super simple steel, especially on a chef knife. It can also be even easier to hold your angle and all that stuff. It's just the abrasive is much finer and isn't as hard. So the diamonds tend to chew up the steel a little bit faster, which I understand. Like a lot of people would think, well, that's what I want. And yeah, kind of, but this does it still very fast, but it's finer. So it makes it to where your edges can come out a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to deburr on without stripping the burr and removing steel you don't want. So there's a lot of really cool things to whetstones and oil stones that I personally really like, but you know, it's hard to recommend them when diamonds are so much cleaner, easier to use. They don't warp. You know, you don't have to flatten them. You rarely have to clean them. Now we are to our 6,000 grit.
Jared, can you define what a simple steel is? Maybe give a few examples.
154 cm and below. So 154 cm, VG10, AUS 10, AUS 8, AUS 6. Yeah.
He said, I imagine you mean stainless steels versus
No.
high carbons or tool steels.
No, so carbon steels will be usually a simple steel. High carbide steels would be more of a super steel. But anything, technically like S35VN, that'd be like the top knife. There's top steel that you'd want to use on natural stones, aluminum oxide stones, stuff like that. Anything over that you should use on diamonds, because the diamonds will cut through the carbides of the steels, because usually, you know, the more premium the steel is, usually the higher the carbide volume. The higher the carbide volume, the more likely you need to use diamonds. So 154 cm and below is basically simple steels. Now, technically, that's a mid-grade steel, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying 154 cm. That would be a mid-grade steel, but anything mid-grade steel and below, two simple steels. So there's simple steels, mid-grade steels, and premium steels. So anything simple and mid-grade you can use on aluminum oxide, natural stones, water stones, oil stones, things like that. But once you get over the mid-grade steels and you start getting to the premium steels, the bottom tier premium steels, you can sharpen on these, but you're better off just going to diamond. But as far as why diamonds are better, it's because of the carbides. And also, some of these steels are hardened at very high HRCs. So you're trying to use an abrasive that has a much higher HRC. Now, not saying because like ceramic, aluminum oxide, though they're still very, very hard. I mean, like extremely, extremely hard. And that's why they'll still sharpen those steels. So don't get me wrong. You will still be able to sharpen. You can sharpen Maximet on an aluminum oxide stone. You can do it. But the edge retention is going to not be good. You're not going to have that incredible edge retention that Maximet has, because what will happen is you're going to remove the steel from around the carbides, and there's so many carbides that basically they'll be hanging out of every surface of the edge bevel, like just pouring out of it, waiting to crack, shatter, and tear out. So that's why you want to do it with diamonds, so that you also cut the carbides instead of just the steel around them. Yeah, this does kind of leave a mirror polish. This actually is probably close to 6,000. Got a few facets, so I'm not worried about it though. Like I said, this is a knife that gets used by so many people. Looks good though. Sorry.
Ow!
You're okay.
I think it's the boo-boo. Thank you. Okay, it's fine.
All right, so now we're to the last side, last stone. We just knocked the burr over. We're trying to recreate a new burr. The thing is the finer the grit the stone, the lower chances you have of creating, you know, a recognizable burr. You know, like a 10,000 grit stone is going to be more difficult to create a burr on than a 2,000 grit stone. So, you know, you do need to be able to identify a small burr, or just identify that, you know, you don't your burr's fine and you can just leave it the way it is. But being able to identify that you have a clean apex, your scratch pattern goes from the, covers the entire bevel down to the apex, and knowing whether or not you need to deburr or not, because technically you don't need to always deburr, just depends on how good your sharpening skills are, because you can minimize burr. Kind of like what's happening with this. Go a little bit longer. Let me clean this up really quick. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. So I'm gonna try to create a small burr, but it's probably not going to be successful. I'm probably just going to have to do like a minimizing burr thing where I just work at both sides to make sure my apex is nice and clean, since this is such a high grit. But we'll see. I might be able to. In most cases, you can get a burr. Just in some cases, the stone is so fine that it almost doesn't allow it. Sucker sharp, though, I'll tell you that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some burr minimization just because. Then we're going to talk about honing on a stone like this and Arkansas stones. A lot of you guys I know have Arkansas stones. I started with Arkansas stones too. They are phenomenal stones. They basically last forever. It's something you can pass down to your grandchildren. But they're not going to be the best for the super steels and stuff. Whew. So, same piece of paper. Let's just see if it'll cut really quick. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What?
That's the next emoji. I need to make a knife emoji and some, like, how I have the toothy edge where it's like a cartoon knife and he has the teeth?
Yeah.
I need to make a knife that looks like it's freezing cold.
Burr?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the next one.
Okay, so I have my strop here. This is actually, I recommend Gunny Juice. That's what I have linked down in the description. This is stroppy stuff. I do like Gunny Juice a little bit better. But what I do appreciate about stroppy stuff, and I told Gunny Juice he should do this, is he's got color coordination with his stropping compounds. So you never mix them because this one's the gray one. So it's going to be whatever grit. The purple one's another grit. The yellow one's a different grit, which I do appreciate that. And it is really good stuff. He has really good quality leather. But you see how sharp it was just off of the stone. Woo! No stropping necessary. It'll definitely cut paper towel. Can you guys see that? Oh yeah, you guys can see it right over here. Yeah, very sharp. So very happy with it. Now let's talk about using these stones, because this is a thing that I personally love using these stones for. Is so, like, say at your grandma's house, your mom's house, your uncle's house, whatever, right? You could grab one of your very hard finishing stones or whetstones or whatever, and you can bring them to their house and use them to touch their knives up. So let me just go grab one really quick.
Guys, I found a turtle today that was laying eggs, and I took a picture of it. I'll show it to you later, if Jared will allow it.
What?
The turtle pic. Literally, she was giving birth. Could you imagine if you were giving birth and some random giant just came up to you and started filming it and taking pictures? That would be so rude.
I'm trying to give birth right now to a masterpiece. So, yeah, I do.
Yeah, well, you might need a C-section for that one, pal.
So,
got him.
What you can do is
I got him. Acknowledge that I got him.
You got him.
I did. Thank you.
You can use the ceramic rods to hone, right? You can use, because this is the point, is that this is an Arkansas, okay? This is an Arkansas. This is a translucent Arkansas. This is a ceramic, shit. Yeah, baby. Sorry, guys. I know I'm all over the microphone.
All over the
Just leave it.
place.
Just leave it.
I got this. All over the room.
I was just about to take a sip.
You can still take a sip. They'll get a
This
nice
is a ceramic plate,
ASMR.
just like this. Maybe a little bit finer grit. But the point is that all these can be used the exact same way. You can also use your very fine Venive stones for this. So you can use them as a honing stone. Same thing, kind of like when you're doing, you're using your finishing stone, you kind of use it the same way, but you can use it as almost like stropping, where you go like this, you do reverse passes just to realign the edge. There's no pressure involved when you do this either. No pressure. All you're trying to do is realign the edge because maybe there's a little bit of damage. Now, if you're going to do this, you need to catch it before it's all fucked up, before Uncle Henry's chipped it all to shit and you just got to resharpen it, right? But if it's not all chipped to shit and it's just dull, you can literally take a few passes on one of these stones and basically cut in some micro serrations on your apex. Now, if there's a tiny bit of damage, not much, like microscopically, you just know, you can tell like this thing's got some wear on it. Well, then you can add a little bit of pressure and cut in a micro bevel. That's going to be about pressure though. So you're not adding a ton of pressure, just a little bit of pressure. So, and then, you can go to stropping after that. But basically, your first line of defense should be the strop. If the strop isn't working and you're not getting any good results from the strop and you're like, this thing is just not getting sharper, well, then you go to the honing. And if you want to, you can spend a couple minutes on the stone. But the thing is, though, is that the longer you spend on the stone, the more likely chance you're going to have that you need to do a whole new sharpening. So just know that the longer you spend honing, the more likely you're going to have to just go to a coarse stone and just resharpen it. And that's why the point isn't to cut in a whole new bevel, right? It's either to do a micro bevel or to add some micro serrations to your edge bevel that already exists, or to realign it, right? You're just trying to realign it and make it to where your edge is nice and straight and it can do some cutting. Like right there would have been perfect. And it is. It's very sticky now. I can tell it's still a little worn, but it's at least a lot better than it was. We're going to do this other one too. It should cut paper. Yeah. And that only took a few seconds. But I probably could have, if I would have just started off doing, those passes, it would have worked just the same. Let me move this out of the way. This one, I feel a couple micro chips, but I'm going to do this one on the Arkansas. Now, this would be an oil stone, but I got soap and water here because I've never put oil on it. Oh, yeah. Also, if it's an oil stone and it's a super hard one, like a translucent or a hard Arkansas, then the oil doesn't matter if you've used oil in the past. It matters if the oil stone is like an aluminum oxide and it's soaked into the pores of that stone. So right now, this is one second. This is a very, very hard stone. It's probably like 1,200 to 2,000 grit. Yeah.
Dan is asking, I have 2 diamond plates, 600 and 1,200. Are those sufficient for general sharpening for knives?
What was the grits?
Hold on. That are just used on cardboard and tape. Yeah, 600 is going to get
What
you a
was
toothy
the
edge.
what was it?
600 and 1200.
You need no.
That's a big skip, though.
You need a coarser stone. So you don't want to start on a 600 in most cases. If it's a blade that's super duper thin behind the edge, then you could start with a 600. But in most cases, you want to start with at least a 300, if not lower. Then go to 600. So then you can go to 300 and then finish on the 600, or you can go to the 1200. But yes, a 600 grit and 1000 grit edge or 1200 grit edge is a perfect edge for what you're going to be using it for. Cardboard and stuff like that. But as far as sharpening goes, you're going to want something a little coarser so that you can cut it, because 600 grit in many cases is a finishing stone. So you don't want to use it as a reprofiling stone. You want to use it as a finishing stone or a medium grit stone. This is quite a bit better. Now, you seen how long that took, and if I wasn't sitting here talking, that probably would have took 15 seconds, you know? So, I'm not sure if it's sharp enough to cut paper right now. Like I said, it did have a couple microchips, but we'll see. Yeah, pretty good. And that was just honing, you know, that's not resharpening or anything like that. That's just honing it.
Dog, do you mean because he's looking at the wrong camera, or what do you mean?
What? I'm looking at this one mostly. But
they said who's Jay? He said who's Jay looking at? That's them. That's your
I know where they're at.
They're over there.
I know that, but I'm looking like right here because this is right in front of me.
You guys feel like you're in a little box.
But anyway, so yeah, I guess I could have cut the paper right there. Anyway, so it's cutting good, but with these stones, the Arkansas stones, I love them because they last forever. They're super cheap. This one I think was $20 and it'll last forever. I can use it to hone. I can use it to micro bevel. I can use it for burr removal. Same thing with a ceramic rod. And that's why I recommend a ceramic rod so much, because this is a multi-tool for you. This is literally every sharpener's multi-tool. You can use it to hone it with no pressure. So if you're going to hone, I'm going to do a whole video on this just so you guys know, because I'm going to do a video talking about the metal honing rods versus a ceramic. But you want to use it very gently, right? And especially if you have an angle, you can just go right to it and no pressure at all. No pressure at all. That is how you're going to hone it, right? So because all you're doing is realigning the edge. You're making sure the edge is nice and straight and it's not bent anywhere, you know. Then if you need to micro bevel, like I was saying before with the stone, same thing, but this time you add a little tiny bit of pressure. You add some pressure now. That will micro bevel. Now, let's say you want to just do a burr removal, right? You want, like, say you finish sharpening on one of these or a diamond or something, right? Well, then you take and you go backwards, like strapping, and you can remove your burr, right? You can go forward too, but it works really good just going backwards. No pressure again, right? The idea is you're just stripping the burr off. That actually made this thing even sharper than the stone. So there's lots of ways to use this. And then what else can you do with it? You can smack people with it. That's another thing. But you can point at things and tell your wife to get things for you. Hey, go grab me that thing over there.
What do you
over
need?
there?
What do you need?
No, I'm just joking. But there's a lot of things you can use it for. And I recommend getting one of these with the angles, especially if you're not good at holding an angle. You can get the Work Sharp one that already has a pre-built angle, or you can, if you already have a ceramic rod, you can just buy these angle guides, and then you can get a whole box of different angles. And say if you want to hone your edge and it's a 15-degree edge bevel, well, you can grab a 15-degree cone so that now when you go to hone it, you're honing the entire edge bevel and not just the apex, because there is a difference there, right? You have a choice to make when you hone. You're either going to do the entire edge bevel, or two, you're just going to do the apex. If you just do the apex, the reason why you don't want to put any pressure is because you don't want to micro bevel. You're just trying to add teeth to the apex. But if you add pressure, then you're going to micro bevel it. So,
Seems Logical said, Jared, what's the most impressive mouth-watering meal you and Kara have made with those VOSTEED knives? I used them for a while to cook. Probably one of those Hello Fresh things, honestly.
Yeah,
That's
it
when I
was
was
pretty
using
fire.
them, so it had to be one of those. And those, a lot of those were good. I can't like think back to any of the particular meals though. I know they were good.
I made a bunch of bullshit with them. I was just cutting up vegetables the other day with them, or yesterday. And fruits, because I made a like a little fruit
The
salad.
yogurt thing.
Mhm.
Did the cones fit on both?
Yes, the cones fit on both. So
Does he mean on the work sharp one though?
so you can just take it off, and like if you wanted to put it on here, because it's just a band, so it'll fit on whatever. See how you can open it up. So if you this is what I would recommend. Get a diamond one and a ceramic if you can. If you can't, get a ceramic one first, diamond one later. And then what you can do is you could technically, say if your grandma calls you up and needs you to sharpen her knives, you can literally just bring your two rods, your diamond rod and your ceramic. Your diamond one will sharpen it, and then just have the same angle that you use on both, so you can sharpen it one side and the other, and then hone it or deburr it and finish it off. Use the ceramic as a finishing stone, basically. It works great. That's a fantastic way to sharpen your knife, is just one diamond plate and a ceramic. You can get a fantastic edge, especially on a chef knife. And that's why I recommend that way over any metal honing rod. Because a metal honing rod is knocking off the very teeth that one of these will. And also think about it like this, right? Say a barber, right? You go to a barber. You ever seen a barber hone their knife on a steel plate or on a
their razor, like their shaving thing,
a straight razor? Yeah.
Okay.
You've never seen them hone on a metal rod, right? What do you see? You see them either one use an Arkansas or a natural stone to hone it, or to a strop. That's it. Because that's what works the best, right? And that's to get the high level of sharpness. Some people would argue, well, the metal rod is just for speed. It's because they have to continue working. They need to just go really fast and realign their edge. A ceramic does it faster. A ceramic works 10 times faster than honing steel. It's way harder. It actually, the surface of it isn't abrasive, right? So the surface of it is adding the micro serrations you want, while the metal one is just stripping it. Even the ones with those little micro lines, that's not adding real micro serrations to your edge. Maybe on a super soft fucking steel that's like 50 HRC that you want to throw in the garbage, maybe, but not on anything worth a fuck. So, now as far as diamonds goes, right? I know I don't remember if we talked about this or not, but I wanted to talk about the difference between diamond. I just did a short too that's going up. The difference between a diamond and the aluminum oxide stuff. So you can use the diamonds on every steel all the way down to this type of steel. Yes.
I gotta go switch this off to the iPad. It needs to charge, so just pay attention for 1 second, or I'll catch up right when I get back.
So you can use diamonds on every steel, but you can't use aluminum oxide on every steel, or you shouldn't. You can, but you shouldn't. You should use those on mid-grade and below, and then use the diamonds on premium steels. However, you can use the diamonds on mid-grade steels as well, or simple steels. Doesn't matter. So the thing is, though, is that with like chef knives and certain steels, they're going like carbon steels. Carbon steels are going to do better on aluminum oxide, natural stones, things like that. They do. You'll get probably a little bit better edge retention out of a carbon steel on a natural stone or a whetstone or an oil stone. But it's not like so significant that you would say never do it with diamonds. It's not that case. It's going to be very minor. Most people wouldn't even notice the difference. But as far as sharpening on diamonds go, though, diamonds cut so fast. They take very little effort. Like, you don't have to maintain them. You can just dust them off. You don't even have to put water on them. You can just run them dry. Now, you can run them with water if you want, but that's the beautiful thing about them that I love, is that they're not messy. I can literally just bring this anywhere, set it right up on a counter and start going to work. Obviously it'd be cool to have a strap too, but this is 150 grit. This thing's like $50-$60 for this thing. Not bad for 3 diamond plates up to 1200 grit. I'm just touching this thing up really quick. I'm not trying to go too crazy with it. I gave it to a friend, and he had it for like 6 months and beat the shit out of it. So it needs a new edge. I probably won't even finish this. Hopefully, moving forward here in the sharpening studio, this will only get better and better. Our audio, the setup, just everything. Because now I'm leaving this computer over here where all I have to do is bring my camera. So we'll be able to do really good quality sharpening over here. And I have everything here. So everything you guys like want to see, or if you want to switch to fixed angle sharpening or belt sharpening or anything like that, I have everything right here. So it makes it to where we can do that. Look how fast that was. Diamonds, man. Diamonds are fast.
Lawrence says, wait, hold on. 2 questions. Logical says, is Breeze the friend you gave that knife to?
No, it was Mad Dog.
Oh, really? And he messed it up?
He didn't mess it up. I said,
used it.
Yeah, he used the fuck out of it.
And then Lawrence 69 said, I got a work sharp honing rod with 2 grits. The one which goes with the kitchen electric sharpener. It looks like every time I use the fine grit side, my knife is getting duller. Too much pressure? ?
Read that again.
I got a work sharp honing rod with 2 grits. The one which goes with the kitchen electric sharpener. You know that?
No, I don't know.
That it's probably that belt, that electric work sharp thing.
I have one over there. I have one over there, but I don't know.
It's not that. What's the kitchen?
You said
one,
a ceramic rod.
I didn't say that.
What'd you say?
I got a work sharp honing rod with 2 grits.
Right, honing rod.
I know. I'm just saying. I didn't say anything. I
don't know what honing rod it is. Is it a metal honing rod? Is it a diamond?
I didn't say ceramic.
I'm saying it. Is it ceramic? Is it diamond? Is it metal? What kind of honing rod is it?
Well, he said the one that goes with the kitchen electric sharpener.
I don't know which one that is.
Either way, he says it looks like every time I use the fine grit side, my knife is getting duller. Am I using too much pressure? And he said ceramic.
Okay, it's ceramic. Yeah, you're probably using too much pressure, and hopefully, maybe too. Do you have an angle on there? If you have an angle on there, make sure you're using the angle. That's one thing. And yes, no pressure. Very, very, very light pressure. You're pushing too much pressure.
I personally feel like I have a hard time holding an angle on rods compared to stones because, like, just the way that you're doing it, I feel like your hand and wrist has way more potential for micro movements compared to, like, being flat and, like, being able to anchor down with your other arm. Like, holding it and then just going like this, like, to me, I feel like that's so much easier for me personally.
When you have an angle guide on there, it's really easy. You just lay the blade flat on the angle guide and then drag it down. Once the edge hits, now all you gotta do is maintain that angle. So
that's the part that's hard because you have to remember, though, baby, you've got muscle memory for locking a wrist and holding a blade perfectly.
I understand, but that's
doing it the way you just did it in your chest is probably a bit better, more reminiscent. But I'm just saying that for me personally, holding an angle like this is going to be easier any day than like loosely doing it with one arm.
That just takes practice. So you
of course
you just got to practice with it. But yeah, hold it to your chest like this. That's the way I like to do it. Then it's kind of like holding it on a stone. Then when you go this way, you can go the opposite way, just like this. Make sure this is flat on this angle, go down till it hits the stone, then hold that angle across. No pressure. Just that little bit made this knife sharper.
I definitely think holding it into your chest is a better, more secure way of doing it.
But no pressure. Yes, pressure will mess it all up.
When people just put the rod down like this and go down, that's where I feel like I would like not be able to hold my angle as steadily.
Sorry guys, I'm just touching this little knife up. I'm almost done with it.
Breeze should invest in a good kukri. I can take the abuse. It loves the tough loving. What was that noise? It sounded like the tip went.
That came out the stone.
Oh, it sounded like it snapped. That was weird. There should be a museum exhibit of Breeze's knives. Nothing but super sad steel. Let me ask you guys in the chat a question really quick. Have you, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, but it just was on my mind. Have you guys ever been in the scenario where you have a friend and like they have like a knife or like they show you like a knife or like maybe not a friend, but somebody you meet and it's just terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. And like, do you tell them it's terrible, or like in a nice way, or do you pretend like it's good? What do you do?
I don't know. I wasn't listening. I'm paying attention to this. I'm about to knock this burr off. I got my final burr off the 325, and now I'm going to use the ceramic to knock it off. But I'm not going to go forward because I don't want to. It's kind of a big burr, and I don't want to just tear it off. I want it to gently be removed. So I'm going to do a reverse, basically a stropping pass on the ceramic, a couple of them, and I'm going to feel it. So I can feel that it partially flipped, but still some is still there. So I'm going to do a couple more, no pressure at all. I'm just allowing the burr to snag the ceramic stone. Then I'm going to go to the other side, do the same thing. Now I'm going to do back and forth motions, just like stropping. I'm just basically flipping the burr back and forth, back and forth, back and forth so that it pops off. And I'm still going to have to hit the a strop, but there we go. Oh yeah, that's still very toothy. I might have to go to it because this is a 325 grit. And what is this, Nitro V? Yeah, I should probably move up. I should probably move up, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to hit it on a strop. I think I need to go up to the 1200 grit. This is a pretty coarse 325. Anytime you come off of a coarser stone, you can do more stropping than if you come off of a finer grit stone. The finer the grit stone, the least amount of stropping you want to do, because your scratch pattern's already nice and fine. Yeah, so I still have some microchipping in the middle of there. I think I can just... Sometimes also, if you take the piece of wood and draw it through the wood, that's soft wood, that'll help knock the burr off. Ooh, that worked actually really good. But this is such a coarse stone, 325. Like I said, in many cases, that's a reprofiling stone, well, 300. Yeah, it's super toothy. Ooh, that's very aggressive. I'm going to leave it, though. I'm sure it'll cut paper just fine. The only thing is I feel a little bit of micro stuff in the belly right there. I'm going to use this Arkansas really quick. This is the beautiful thing about having different stones, too. Different stones you can use for different purposes. Now, you don't need as many stones as I have, but it's nice to have at least a few options, you know. Whether it's aluminum oxide, India stones, then diamond stones or something. What'd they say, baby?
What do you mean? What did who say?
Well, you asked your question.
Oh, we're talking about it over here.
All right, there we go. That fucker's pretty good. And that only took a few minutes, and you see how fast a diamond plate works. You know, as long as you're not lowering back the angle, which I didn't do. I kept the edge angle basically the same as the factory. There was a lot of damage, so keeping the same factory edge made it to where I could remove the damage a little faster. I didn't have to sit there and cut in a whole new edge angle. The edge angle was already there. I just had to make sure I removed the teeth. But, yeah, I guess we can close it up from here.
Hold on, we got a super chat.
Next time, we're going to be quite a bit more prepared. This time when we were setting up, we were having audio problems and a bunch of different problems. So that's why we were like 5 minutes late, too. So now that I have everything over here, every time when I set up over here, it's already going to be set up. Everything already, all I got to do is just move my camera. That's it. So before, like when we were in the studio, I literally had to move everything. I'd have to reset up the way I did the cameras. I'd have to set up my sharpening stuff. I'd have to move everything out of the way because that area is where I normally edit. So it made it very frustrating to do these in the studio. So now doing it out here, like I said, I can get to everything. I have stones like literally at hand's reach. You didn't believe how many stones I have. Like here, just me reaching over here. Look at here. There's a bunch of VOSTEEDs right there. Look at that.
Can I read this super chat real quick?
Gold mine right there. That's money. Go ahead.
Lawrence69, thank you for the $5.99 crackers. As always, I learned something during Sunday Live, so thanks again for your answers and keep going. Got plenty left. Thank you so much, Lawrence. We love your questions. Questions equals content, so we love them. Yep. Don't ever feel bad for asking.
No,
them.
we want the questions.
Oh, I love how all the questions start coming when Jared's like, "We're gonna wrap it up." Now you guys have questions. I know. I've been waiting
for questions this whole damn time.
Pacao just got here, so hi, Pacao. Yeah, you did kind of miss it, but we got a couple more minutes here. We can chill. Seems logical. Wait, hold on. First question actually is from Kyle saying, "Kara, did you perm Jared's hair?" No, his hair is actually this curly for real. He even was mentioning to me the other day, like how curly it's naturally been lately. I guess just because
it always is. It's always been curly. Normally, I comb it forward and I put
that's right.
I put product in my hair. I haven't been putting product in my hair.
Yeah, even today, it's not as curly.
And normally, even when I don't put product, I comb it. I haven't combed it. All I've done is literally just went like this to my hair with my hands. So.
It seems logical said they were saving their questions so they could delay the end. It seems logical. Was either of those girls the one that you had take your spot when you left? No, there was like 3 or 4 girls that carried knives based off of me when I was there. The one who took my spot, my job with people carrying knives there. The one girl, I gave a lot of people knives. The one girl, she kept the knives that I gave her, but never went and bought any more. But she religiously carried the ones that I did give her. The other girl, I did the same thing, gave her one, and then she went down the damn rabbit hole. She's the one who showed up in the comments a couple times. This other girl, though, the one I was referencing from before, she was like somebody I hired that like barely lasted. You know, it's just whatever. And then we got Chris Jones, where did you get the removable angle doohickey for the rods? Are you talking about the angle guides?
They're in the damn store.
The Amazon store that Kyle has linked a couple times.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you linked them. Yeah.
They're in one of the categories.
There should be angle guides for stones and for rods in there.
Yeah, there's just like the flat, like little ones that look like a little ramp that you just set on a flat stone for that. And then the same company makes these. In fact, you know what? I know exactly where they're linked in the Amazon store. When you go in the Amazon store, there's actually 2 videos that are posted on there. They look like shorts. And one of them, Jared is doing a short where he talks about those, and they're linked with that video. Let's see here.
Made in Japan.
Dan is asking Jared, do you use gunny juice in your hair too? No, he actually uses KPL in his hair because it smells better.
Gunny juice smells good. Grab some gunny.
You have it in your hair, I thought.
Grab some gunny juice.
Which one?
Just grab that box. Grab the whole box. That's not gunny juice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's stropping compound.
Well, does the stropping compound not smell good?
No.
I want my strop to smell good.
No, you're grabbing the wrong stuff. Just grab the damn box, baby. These.
Don't yell at me.
Any of these. That's oil.
Let's see. I'll be the judge of this.
Be the judge of it.
All
of them are different. All of them are different too, just so you know. All of them are different. So if you don't like that one, there's a different fragrance.
I smell nothing. Do you? It smells like nothing. It has absolutely no smell.
That one might be different.
Let me smell the purple one. Maybe it's grape.
I think it's cinnamon, but go ahead.
I thought that was KPL that did the cinnamon thing.
They all do different ones.
Yeah, that's super cinnamony.
Oh yeah.
Oop, got it on your nose.
Sounds like Big Red.
Yeah, it does. Not the channel, but the gum.
Yeah, it does sound like Big Red. The channel.
Everyone's like, "Why do you know what Big Red smells like?" Okay, hold on. Let's do this one. That one smells like Christmas. No, in the middle of my finger. This knuckle. Christmas.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It smells like when you walk into like a Michael's craft store around Christmas time.
Yes. I got a couple fragrances.
Well, where's
like
KPL? I thought KPL did the cinnamon thing first. No.
It's not cinnamon.
You know what I mean. Christmas in a bottle, whatever.
It's a sweet smell. Yeah.
Here's a KPL. Knife
But there's
shield.
other ones. He does all different fragrances, though. That's the cool thing with his. KPL is just the same across the board.
Camellia knife oil. What's that? Is this smell good?
No.
Is this rust remover?
That smells
Oh, it
like
does
oil.
smell good.
It smells like oil, baby.
No, it's cinnamon. It is.
It's just oil. I put it on stuff all the time. I don't think that's...
Oh, I think I was smelling my own finger.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Okay. I'm gonna go back to these comments right here.
I'm just cleaning stuff up, guys.
So glad I got my NEEVESKNIVES before the price increase happened. How much did they go up?
A lot. They were like over $200 for the dragons now, like $260 or something like that. They were like $189 or something a piece. Now they're super expensive, but it depends on which ones you get. You can get the ones for fixed angle systems that aren't as bad.
Dog one says that his girl Sarah carries the knife I sent her every day. That makes me really happy.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I find out that like a girl genuinely starts to show interest, it's hard for me to not send her a knife or whatever girl a knife, because it's obviously a lot more rare, and you want to nurture the interest if you can, because even though a lot of knife channels will think that they know maybe what a girl would like, a lot of times the only thing they're basing it off of is just it being small and cute and non-intimidating. But in reality, there's a lot more that you have to think about. Obviously pocket space, I've made that very much known, but also like for instance, liner locks and frame locks are better, but a lot of liner locks and frame locks do not support easy opening and closing with fingernails. Same thing with spidey holes, difficult with fingernails. Thumb studs are good, button locks are good, access locks can be good, or crossbar, whatever, but there's a lot of other factors that play into it, besides just, oh, it's small and cute, so I like to have a good influence to get them started on something that's genuinely like gonna make sense for them and is actually going to work.
I can smell cinnamon stuff.
I know, me too. I barely like sprayed any out too. Okay, let's see. Haha, I love how this hair joke turned into smelling all the oils. Yeah, we took it really serious.
She's got damn K bars in her ears.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Can you guys see him? Can they see?
They can see.
My K-bar. The K-A in K-bar actually stands for Kara. It's a Kara bar.
Fun fact.
That's my ancestor, Kara Knifeicus created the K-bar, and she was also Kara. I'm like Kara the 7th or something.
You can do your own research.
Yeah. It's actually like, so you might Google it and find some different things, but then just go to one of those fact checker websites and it'll fact check and let you know that all that's true.
Is 9CR 18 MLB a good steel to practice on with diamond plates? Yeah, it can be. I think 14C is another really good one because it's super easy to sharpen. 9CR is very easy to sharpen. 8CR is pretty easy to sharpen. The most important thing is making sure it's from a decent company, so that most companies, this is the thing, is that with any budget steel that you're going to be learning to sharpen on, you want to make sure it's heat treated well. So you want to pick a steel that's easy for companies to heat treat, especially when they're being mass produced. 14C is one of the easiest steels to heat treat in large batches from production companies, because it was literally designed and made to be done in mass production. It was basically made to be heat treated on like a conveyor belt. So because it's made for large batch production, you can pretty much guarantee whatever company's doing it is at least doing an okay job, even if it's not superior, right, or the best. They're at least doing a decent job. 9CR is pretty similar. It's pretty easy for companies to heat treat. That's very similar to 440C. 440C, 14C, 28N, 9CR, 154CM can be really good. I don't like to take it over 600 grit. Maybe you can go up to 1,000 grit.
I still think my damn invention is good, but you guys all hated on it.
What's the next question? But yes, 9CR is a good one.
I still want to buy bulk steels and sell little samples to practice sharpening on that aren't real knives. But I would have to buy so much steel that they would be so cheap that it would be worth it.
Right.
A starter pack of like 5 blades that are just for sharpening. Yeah, but they would just be like a fixed blade, like, you could wrap paracord on it if you want, like whatever.
But that's still a ground blade.
Yes,
so to grind
correct. But I'm saying I would buy so much that it would be cheaper than like even a Ganzo. Like the 5-pack would be $35.99.
You're spending $100,000 on steels.
Yeah, but if the price was right, then people would do that. If the price was wrong, people would still just be like, why not just get a Ganzo, or whatever. But I'm just saying though, and the guarantee would be that they're heat treated to quality, because you're getting 5 unique steels to try sharpening on so that you can feel the difference. Is all heat treated to perfection. I think I would buy it. So what now?
Then you're gonna go broke because you spent $100,000.
No, on all the you're gonna go broke.
What's the next comment?
Also 9CR, that's the core for the Damascus for Civivi, right? Would that be different feeling to
No, it's not the core. It's just the
main steel.
The Damascus is 440 and 9CR mixed.
Oh, okay. Well, would that feel weird to sharpen like that? Like if they're mixed in a Damascus versus
not for other Damascus, yeah, for like Pakistani Damascus or anything you get from Amazon, for the most part, you don't want to do any Damascus. But if it's like Civivi's Damascus, it's fine, because the 9CR and 440 is so similar, there's gonna be like no difference.
Got it. Let's see.
But for the most part, yeah, stay away from Damascus.
Let's see. You guys rock. Way better than Googling this shit.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Jared is a knife encyclopedia, and Kara brings the childish chaos and fun to the show. Yeah, I have this talent where pretty much any funny or lighthearted statement I make makes Jared frown instead of smile. It's actually
That's not true.
It so is. It is. What? Just pay attention during the live. I'll make the best zinger you could ever think of, and he'll just look at me.
Yeah,
and go,
but you'll do it when I'm in the middle of literally describing.
You're always in the middle of talking and describing, so
right,
it has to be in the middle.
That's the point of these.
Right.
The point of these isn't to be a comedy show. The point of these
it's
is
not.
to help
I'm just
people learn how
being.
to
I am
sharpen.
always like
Right.
this.
So
it's
when
not special.
It's kind of like this, right? If you were teaching coffee master class,
Yes.
and you were sitting in the middle of fucking pressing something, talking about the poundage of that you need to push, right? And then I jump in and tell a joke, and you're sitting there, and you're sitting there like 30. Getting ready to spit out pounds,
yeah,
and then I fucking just jump right in and start joking.
Well, I mean,
you're gonna be like, back to the 30 pounds of pressure.
So the thing is, though, if your joke was solid, I would welcome it. And also,
how about 137 times? Though?
I would also make sure to do natural pauses.
How about 137?
Like when I know there's see, the thing is, I can sense when there's a spot for a good joke. So I would do the natural pause. You're unaware of that it's coming.
I don't know about that.
So you don't anticipate the pause, right? Like if you say pushing poundage, you should have paused there so I could have made an awesome joke, but you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
No, you were the one pushing poundage. You were making coffee. That's what I was talking about.
Okay. Neeves knives. So that 600 diamond rod is the way to go.
600? Yeah, you can get a 600. I think a lot of them are 1200. It doesn't matter if it's 600 or 1200 because you're just going to be using. You're not going to be. You can resharpen on it. That's the point. But with chef knives, which you'll be using it for, because you'll mostly be using it for chef knives, you're going to use it for recurves and chef knives. That's it. So because you're mostly using it on chef knives, they're thin behind the edge, so it doesn't take long to create a burr on, or to set a bevel on something super thin. So you can easily sharpen on a diamond rod with a ceramic as far as kitchen knives go. Now, you're not going to use that to reprofile your Spydercos, right? It's completely different. In that case, you need a stone. So
what was your question, dog? All you said was juggling cats. How is that a question? Man, what?
See, you don't
cats would be really angry if you juggled them. I can juggle for realsies. That's also something Jared frowns at if I do during the live. What
steel was this again? You remember? Was it AEBL?
It's something. It's not stainless. That's all I can remember. It's not stainless.
It's not?
No.
I thought it was.
It has a rust spot on it. Did you fix it?
I thought it was
what
AEBL.
tip?
I thought it was AEBL for some reason.
It might be. I think that actually is maybe what it is. No, then it's not. No. It's one of the 10s, 1090 some 95.
Is it? Are you
it's
sure?
Yeah, it's a 4-numbered steel. I promise you, it's one of them 4-numbered ones. Can we put this
5160.
stuff on it, please? Because it had a little speck on it.
Yeah, I've already done it.
You didn't put a speck on him.
I did actually.
Where? Let me
I'll
see.
do
Let
it
me see. Let
again.
me see.
Well, I've got it cleaned off now. I'll do it again.
Well, I just want to see if the spot's gone.
Oh no, the spot won't leave
Can I see? Why?
because it's stuck there forever.
We'll fucking evict it or something. Give it a 30-day notice.
I'll have to scratch it.
Can I see though? I want to look with my eyeballs. That?
Yeah.
It won't come off even with this?
Nope.
What about, what's that one stuff? Winks? Can I put that on there or will it ruin the finish?
It'll ruin the finish.
What if I just ruin all the finish and then it will just look like a new finish with no
you can
spot?
do that. Yeah.
I'm
Fuck up the
so
whole
upset
thing.
there's a spot there.
You can scrub it off, but you might scratch the blade doing it. I'll get it up. You grab the rust remover over there.
Where is it?
It's just a sponge that's in there somewhere.
Your sponge is a rust remover?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Oh, it actually might be right in here.
Careful with the wire.
Right here. Oh no, not this one. It looks like this.
This?
Yeah.
The markings on it?
Yeah.
That's not going to ruin the
might.
hand
I
rubbed
said it might.
finish?
I said it might.
Well, I mean,
I got rid of it though.
Dog asked the success of the defense video. Oh, the self-defense one Jared did? That,
What?
I think was doing well the last time I looked.
It's doing okay. Yeah, it's doing pretty good. There, I got it off.
Let me see. Is that all the... Did it ruin the finish? It doesn't look like it.
Oh, it's all right.
I don't do a lot of recurve or hawk build blades. Usually use sandpaper and rods to sharpen those if I can't use my narrow stones. You know,
Say that again. Read that again.
why do we call them hawk build? That's kind of birdist to the eagles and stuff, you know?
What the fuck did he say?
I'm getting there. See, that's what I'm talking about. Insta frown. And you weren't even talking. Okay, I don't do a lot of recurve or hawk build knives.
Okay.
Usually use sandpaper and rods to sharpen those if I can't use my narrow stones.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a comment.
Yeah,
It was Todd.
Yeah, narrow stones for any sort of recurves or round. You can use round stones too. And that's the beauty with having a diamond rod that's round and a ceramic rod that's round, because you can also do your recurves with it.
Hold on, I was gonna say something. Shit, what was it? It was actually like oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. Would you guys believe, well, you probably would because everyone has to start somewhere, but when Jared and I first started this whole shebang, and I kid you not, when he first started, like, because he's always known how to like do hand sharpening, but like obviously he took a break from it for a while, and so when he got back into it in a very serious way, for like the first, I want to say like 6 to 8 months of it, he was straight up using these tiny ass little Lansky stones, and he would just sit there with it in his hand, and that's how he would sharpen for like the longest time.
That's why I recommend that though. I recommend people to do that.
Was it the diamond ones when you had them, or was it the aluminum oxide?
No, diamond. So I was just grabbing these stones, or I was also using work sharp stones. I was using there was another set of stones I was using too. But anyways, but you just basically get them in your hand like this, and it makes it to where you have a lot of control because you're holding the stone and the knife. You can literally put your eye right up to it, and you can see you're hitting the apex, and then you can draw it across. So it makes it to where you have a lot of control and you're watching very closely what you're doing. Now, this is also the way I recommend a convex, because you can literally put the edge on there and move both. And you're not trying to convex. You literally try your best, the very best you can do to hold a perfect angle. But it's impossible when you're moving both of them. So it'll automatically give you a perfect convex as long as you are trying not to convex. So it actually works really good. There we go, this whole thing.
Were you sharpening my little knife there this whole time?
I just honed it, tuned it up.
What does that mean exactly? You just honed it? Just mean like honing it in, getting it together?
I just brought back the edge. I made it sharper. It was going dull, and I brought it back.
Why does the edge look so skinny?
Because it's so thin behind the edge.
No, I mean the like the height of the scratch pattern looks so like short. Like I can't even see the edge.
Thin behind the edge.
But why can't it still be thick? Like this way, upwards, like this. Like why can't it be fat?
I'm literally telling you, you're not listening to me.
So the behind the edge thickness
so
has to do with
thin
that?
behind the edge that an edge angle, even at a low angle, you're not going to be able to see it. It's too thin of an edge. Like say if it's 5 thousandths behind the edge and it's a 15-degree edge bevel, you're not going to be able to even see it. But if it's 15 degrees per side on something that's 20 thousandths behind the edge, it's going to be a huge ass bevel.
Well, you know,
the thinner it is, the smaller the bevel. The thicker it is, the bigger the bevel.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It has this weird effect, though, that because it's like that, there's almost like this pseudo scratch pattern on the actual blade that looks all haphazard and weird. Really? Like, I can see, if I get the light right, I can see that the scratch pattern on the actual edge is, you know, there or whatever, and good. But because the edge is so thin, it's like you can't help but to scrape parts of the actual, you know, knife onto the stone, and so there's like this pseudo edge. It's like a facade edge. Yeah, look, it looks like another edge, but it's not the real edge.
Yeah, that's because the guy who sharpened it originally convexed the edge. He freehanded. Yes, he freehanded the edge.
So what does that mean?
That means he convexed the edge. I mean, some parts are a little bit rounded. The edge is just, it's contoured. Because that's the way he did it. He basically damn near did a zero grind because it's so thin.
Yeah, he's a really good sharpener.
He's all right. I was joking. No, he's
that
good.
was rude.
No, I'm just joking. He's good. I've only seen this. I've only seen this. So
Gary.
He probably is, but I know he does teach knife sharpening. So I imagine you got to be pretty good if you're teaching.
So while you were over there frowning, I asked the chat if you guys saw Jared and didn't know his name was Jared, what would they think your name was?
Okay.
Like, what do you look like?
Okay.
So you want to hear him?
Okay.
Okay, so you look like a Chet, a Chad.
A Chet?
A Chet. You know what's funny is I knew a Chet. He was Indian, like not Native American Indian, but Indian, and his name was Chet. Chet, we got Chad.
So many Chuz.
Kevin? I don't think he looks like a Kevin. Raymond. Ooh, seems logical. Was that because you know things, or was that actually a random name you picked? Because that's funny.
The middle name is Ray from Raymond.
I so agree with this one. Chadwick Neeves III. That's it.
Oh, I like that one.
Chadwick? Yeah, it's like John Wick.
I could do a Chadwick.
But you're Chad.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking.
I like how everyone's calling you a Chad. You know, that's like the muscly, like a Chad.
They're calling me a Chad.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like Chadwick, Chad, whatever. Okay, we got a Gary. Okay. Jesus, as in God of sharpening. That was just a nice compliment. He commands the steel.
That's actually the one.
If Jared breaks a tip, he just stretches it back out. Christopher James the third. That is weird. Christopher James.
The third.
Do you want to know why that's weird? Can I tell you?
Because I have a cousin and an uncle named Christopher and James.
When I was, in high school, the person who was like my high school sweetheart, that was his first and middle name. Oh. That's really weird. Yeah. That's strange. That's really odd that, like, of all the names together, that would be picked. Chadwick Pennington. Wait, what? The New York Jets has a quarterback named Chadwick Pennington. He was pretty mid. Okay, dog wins.
You didn't slap?
No. Dog wins. Are you ready?
Yeah.
He says / Burton. I like that.
/ Burton? I like that too.
That's like, that sounds like.
You can just call me Slash.
Yeah, you could just call me Slash.
Just call me Slash.
Or it might even be cooler if you just said.
Slay. Just call me Slay.
It might be cooler if you went with Burton.
I like Slay.
Slay Burton.
Just Slay.
Just Slay.
Just Slay.
Okay, Brian Neeves. I feel like if you weren't a Jared, you would be like maybe like a Jason. Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think so though. But go ahead, it's fine.
I know too many Jasons actually. That doesn't work. What about Lamar? Oh no.
I know Lamar.
Q1 Fiend spelled slay like a sled. Okay, there was an actual question buried in this shit. Chris Jones said, so I shouldn't use a diamond rod on a folder other than a recurve?
Well, it's not that you can't, you can, but it's just you'll get a much better edge on a flat stone, and the reason why is because you can get all the way up to the choil with a flat stone because you have a nice sharp edge here, right? So you can lay it right there, and you're hitting more stone across that edge. If it's a recurve, you can't hit from one side to the other because it's a recurve. That's why the round stone is required. But because you want to hit as much edge as possible with your stone, it's better to do it on a flat surface like this.
There's a couple more little questions here. We got. Do you think for the gunslinger that it should be 600 grit and 25 degrees? Wait, what knife is the gunslinger, and why would it be 25 degrees? That's a thick boy.
Yes, I do think that.
What knife is that?
It's the gunslinger.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
The Jack Wolf gunslinger.
That should be 25 degrees.
Yeah, I'd say between 20 and 22 would be perfect. But 25 you could do if it depends on you and what you're trying to do.
Why?
You don't want to go down to 15 for sure because it's like 5 thousandths behind the edge, like I said before. It's so thin that if you put a super low angle, you're going to make it fragile and it'll just microchip. So
that could be your name.
S9 microchip.
Mm-hmm.
S9EV is a high carbide steel. So, and it does best with a medium grit edge, 600 to 1,000 grit. I like about 600 grit on there. You can take it up to a polish, but it's not going to do as well as with a medium grit edge. I have a couple with mirror polished edges on there, and they do fine. They don't do bad, but they always do better with a medium grit. So I would say under 1,000 grit, between 600 and 1,200 or something, 600 and 1,000. But yeah, 20 degrees per side would probably be just fine. But if you start experiencing microchipping, then just raise it to 22 or 25. But I personally, with mine, when I do mine, I'll probably do about a 20-degree edge bevel. But 25 wouldn't be bad because it's so thin, right? It's already going to be sharp even when it's dull because it's so thin. So it just depends on what you want and also what you're using to sharpen it with too. So, if you're using a freehand, go start with a higher angle because if you have any mistakes, you can always lower your angle and always change it. But if you're starting with a low angle, it's difficult to get that. You're not going to get that steel back. If you start with a low angle, in order to raise the angle, you're going to have to remove steel, As far as with having a low or a high angle and going down to a lower angle, you're just cutting the back of the edge bevel in. Do you know what I mean? Go ahead.
All right, we're going to finish off the last 4 questions on this page. Anything after Kyle's comment, we're going to head out. Seems logical's question. That'll be the last one. All right, so we are going to start with Q1 Fiend. Any simple fixes for terrible detent lash? I'm about to throw away this knife.
Yeah, throw it away.
Ooh. Got him. You got him, bae.
That's about all you can do. That's the thing that sucks about detent lash is that the only thing you can really do is replace the detent ball. So you can either 1, replace the detent ball, or 2, have them replace the knife. If you can't do either one of those, then it's just shit out of luck. If the company has a warranty, then you should be able to get it replaced, fixed, or send it in for warranty work.
Okay, and then Q1, seems logical's question. Well, wait, hold on. Kyle said try turning the stop pin. Would that help?
Yeah, it can. It rarely works, but yeah, you can try turning the stop pin. Sometimes it'll put a little bit more pressure on the detent ball from the detent hole because it's just making it lock up a little bit different. But yeah, you can try that.
All right, seems logical as the last 2 questions. First one, Jared, what is the most challenging blade shape to sharpen for a beginner knife sharpener or on a set of stones? First of all, I want to ask, why am I not being asked the question? I feel like that's kind of rude.
I think a lot of people think a Wharncliffe is the easiest because it's just straight back and forth.
I disagree.
But I honestly think that it's one of the toughest for beginners. And the reason why is...
Can I say? Okay, well, I want to know if I'm right.
Go ahead.
Okay, because if you say it, then everyone's just gonna say you just copied Jared. What I want to know, or what I would think, is that the Wharncliffe would be harder because you don't have that natural motion like with a drop point where you come up for the tip, and then when you sharpen other knives in the future that have curvature like a drop point or anything else like a clip point, then you're going to be probably terrible at actually being able to achieve sharpening towards the tip because you're not moving in the same motion as most knife shapes.
Kind of, but
You would never let me have that, would you? You just wouldn't.
well, I'm saying kind of. But
that's better than no, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Normally I get a no.
So when you're doing these, you have to come off of the stone all the way to the tip, and you have to hold it flat. So this is the problem: is once you get the heel off of the stone, which you have to do, you have to go all the way out to the tip like this. You have to hold this nice and level. You can't let it go up, down, forward. So you have to hold this perfectly flat all the way out here. You can't just go straight back and forth because it won't work. You'll be missing spots in your edge. You have to come off the stone. Well, a lot of people think that you're just going to push back and forth like this, and that's going to get you a good edge bevel, but it's not. So in order to hit the whole edge bevel effectively, you have to come off of the stone like this and hold it, you know, level. So with a drop point, you have to do the same thing, but because you're naturally moving your elbow, it's weird how it feels more natural to move than it does to hold something perfectly angled, right? So it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Now, obviously, the hardest is going to be like serrations or maybe even a tanto. Tantos are going to be probably very difficult. Double edge spear points, that's probably the worst for anybody to begin with. But the easiest, in my opinion, is a sheep's foot or a spear point or a drop point. They're very easy edges to do. Now, when you have the concept down and you understand what you're supposed to do with Wharncliffes, they can be relatively easy. But you have to understand about coming off the stone. That's super important.
All right, we have the last question from Seems Logical, and then there is a super chat following that.
Okay.
All right. It seems logical for the folks at home and the Neeves. What are some aesthetic things about a knife that you enjoy and wish showed up more on today's knife designs? Now, before you answer that, I just want to say, can we not all agree that when Seems Logical wants to be on topic, he has some of the most
based questions?
Yeah, like they're very good to like topic starters.
And
why can't I think of words? Discussion starters.
For beginners too.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's a thing that you like aesthetically, so not functionally, aesthetically, look wise, that you wish you would see more on stuff? So don't say a good detent, don't say good action.
Carbon fiber.
Crosscut carbon fiber? You don't think we see enough of that?
No, we don't ever
I guess it's all fat carbon.
Yeah, I'm talking about crosscut.
Yeah.
Crosscut carbon fiber on production knives. That's one thing I've been wanting to see. Crosscut micarta too on production knives. That's another one. So both of those I'd really like to see. I love the way it looks. I love the aesthetic of it. I'm not sure about crosscut fat carbon fiber, but
is that a thing?
I don't know. I'm sure it is a thing. I've never seen it.
I think my thing would be, and this is a bit more general, but I think mine would be unique anodizations on knives that are not that are colorful, but not the typical ones we always see. So not the lightning strike, not just like a typical ombre between two colors, huh?
What?
Okay, well, here's a really good example. So like there's that little concept Corvette I have, and like they dimpled the titanium and then did the dimples inside the dimples, like different colors. Or another good example is the LC God, what the hell? What the hell is the steel? LC 110? Is that what it is?
No,
why am I not saying it right? What steel is that?
Is what?
LC
is what? Is what?
The drop or the anodization on that one knife I like from Kaiser. I'm blanking on the name.
CM?
No, it's LC. What's that steel?
It's not LC 200N.
No, it's 110 something.
K110? No.
Am I stupid?
It's S35 VN. Or
no. It's
on
not.
the little mini Corvette.
No, I said the Kaiser.
Oh.
That knife with the blue to green with it looks like.
Oh, LC 200N. Yeah. You're talking about I thought you were talking about the Corvette.
My brain wanted to say LC 110, and I knew that was not right at all. I don't know why my freaking brain would like not stop getting off that. Anyway, so that knife, it almost looks like the titanium. It almost looks like galvanized metal. If you've seen like the pipes they replace copper with sometimes, the galvanized metal, it looks like that kind of metal. with like an anodization, like ombre effect on it. So just like
It's just a stone wash with an ombre effect.
Yeah, but it looks
like
galvanized metal. It does not look like a typical stone wash. And so like things like that.
It's because of the anodization. The stone wash has shinier parts, so the anodization sticks differently there.
But I think LC 110. Yeah, but anyway, so I think though that there is a lot of repeat colorful anodizations. You only start to see unique colorful anodizations when you get into like, for some reason, like the $300 plus range for whatever reason, like customs and mid-techs and things like that, because it's like they're going harder to try to make the knife unique or a one-off to give it more, you know, inherent value, because somebody's going to see that as, ooh, it's special, right? But like, it doesn't even have to be one-offs. I just wish that we would see a little bit more variety in the anodization work. You can do so much with it. And though it might be not as labor cost effective, it's not necessarily costing more money to do the anodization, with the exception of maybe a bit more labor. But if once you get a system down for something, you know, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that we could try more. Like, stop with the lightning strike. Stop with this just always solid colors. Here's an example of like something that would be easy to do, right? That would like be what I'm saying. So like if I want colorful anodization, that's something we haven't seen. Imagine a knife, right? Titanium, black coated titanium. So the knife's like solid black, right? Mm-hmm. And then they do the hardware and the clip like a neonish green, neon purple, neon yellow. Like the hardware is like different. Like all the screws are like different, but the same kind of palette. Mm-hmm. And then the clip, same thing. So it's like bang, bang, boom, like little pops of color, right? Mm-hmm. Like it almost looks like black on neon, you know? Yeah. And just by simply making a diverse hardware set and a clip that's not just fucking blue like they always are, you know, that would be enough for me. We don't see that. You mean like on the Benchmade 940-2? Okay, yeah, like how they'll do like the pops of color with standoffs, like the ZT. Remember the 0450? They have the little red standoffs. Yep. Like that it's like a little pop of color, but like, you know, we don't see that as much. It's always blue when they do it. It's a blue hardware and a blue pivot, and sometimes a blue clip. Like, yay. You know, I'm just saying, like, what if you did hardware where it was like blue, purple, green, and then the clip was like something like pink or whatever, and then the knife was coated black, so that shit popped off it. Or plain tie with the same thing. Like, I don't know. Think about what Original Goat does. Do you see how much unique stuff they do on their scales? Yeah, they're doing a lot. You never see that from the start, though, on the knives, is all I'm saying. Anyway.
That's because...
Oh, yeah, there was a question I missed. I forgot.
Okay, go ahead.
Chris Jones was asking how much pressure were on that stropping there.
On this strop?
No, from like 10 minutes ago, the last time he stropped.
No pressure. Just to hold your angle. As much pressure as it takes for you to hold your angle. Now, you can let the weight of the knife go on there and maybe slightly more, but for the most part, you don't want pressure. The only time you maybe want to apply a little bit of pressure is like if there's and even then it's a little different, but like if the burr is like really, or if the grit is really coarse and it's a very coarse grit, then you might put a little tiny bit. But for the most part, you want the abrasive to do the work. So you don't need pressure. You just need to make sure you're maintaining your angle. You want to kind of float across very gently, because what's happening is the abrasive is on the surface. It's already doing its job. So the abrasive is going to go underneath the apex, making little micro serrations at the apex and removing any metal you don't want. So that's the point. You want to remove any metal you don't want while also adding little micro serrations, kind of like honing. Anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
Kyle asked if he could promote something he's doing. I said, yeah, and he said all jobs placed from now till the end of the month are 50% off. Proceeds are going to help fund Stella's fund. So I guess if you guys get a sharpening job with Kyle, it's 50% off and the proceeds are going to help Stella's fund. Can you maybe say what Stella's fund is? Stella's Knife Obsession. Yes, I heard the news. I like her in the community. She's a kind soul. I don't know what that is, so maybe let us know what that is.
Yeah, of course, Chris. I saw your question earlier and I did forget. I apologize.
What did Chris say?
Just about the shopping. Not 50 off, 50. I'm sorry. Yeah, let me repeat that. So he's saying that it's not 50% off. 50% of the proceeds will go to this Stella's Knife Fund. Again, can we clarify exactly what that is? Because I don't know. Yes, it is a big iPad. It's one of the old ones. Stella Knife Obsession has a channel and recently had a stroke and having a brain bleed. Okay.
Oh,
So 50% of the proceeds are going to help with the knife there, with the knife collection there, or for proceeds for something else. Is it for knives or to help like with hospital bills? Oh, hospital bills. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm rambling because I'm trying to understand the situation all right now. So Kyle Sharpening, which you can find on Instagram. I always forget. It's like Quirk and Works. You can type it in the chat. Quirk and Works Sharpening. You can type it in the chat, Kyle. Link your Instagram there. Or if you have an email, you guys can get a hold of him for sharpening, which honestly is probably a good idea since Jared's books have been closed for over a year now. And it would be 50% of the proceeds going to help this other knife channel, Stella, be able to get hospital bills paid. And that is
I actually have like 20 knives in right now.
Kyle Klingenwork.
For somebody who has his books closed, I got like 20 of them in right now.
Kyle Klingen Wankin Swankin work.
Good?
Yes.
All right, guys.
Wait, Kyle, hurry up. Link your thing. Link it. Link it, Kyle, damn it.
That'd be his name.
Here's Kyle's IT info.
Link it, damn it, Kyle.
Link it, damn it, Kyle.
Yeah. That'd be your name if we had to choose.
Okay, so seems logical. Put his IG out there, Klingenwork. And yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining. We do appreciate it. If you're a Patreon, watch for the upload for the giveaway. We are doing that after this. I was supposed to do it 2 days ago, but did not. So watch for that. I do appreciate all the support. Like I said, I think now that we're moving everything over here, this is just going to get better and better over here. It will come up with better camera angles and everything, and a little bit better setup for.
You hate my camera angles so much.
It has nothing to do with that. I just said, well, we're gonna make this
next Bang
really
Gang
cool
is July
thing, yeah.
9th.
July 9th is the next Bang Gang live, so I'll see you guys then. And we're not positive yet, but if we do eventually shut down the Patreon, we'll do more on here, and we'll probably do giveaways on here, or more giveaways, and a lot more stuff on here, uploading and stuff like that. It'd be cool. It's difficult, doing things on 3 different platforms, but I love you guys.
Wait.
Thank you guys for all the support. What?
I just wanted to say that you're the best in the whole world, and your videos are very valued by me, and I love you, and you're
so
amazing.
Sweet, baby. You're so sweet.
And
I love you
we
guys.
all love
Peace.
you, but I love you the most out of anybody.
Later, y'all.
Bye. It's done.
You didn't click it.
It's done.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I can
Talk
see
your
it's
shit
not.
now. Go ahead.
Talk my shit. You stupid fucking bitch.